and all the angels intercede on behalf of those or someone who harbors hatred in his or her heart from you, Allah, and denies your right, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never forgive them. We start with the usual reminder. Please turn off your cell phone and refrain from conversation. We are in the midst of the first Fatimiyya, the anniversary of the martyrdom of Fatima al-Zahra, salamullah alayha. As most of you may know, there are 3 different occasions based on the historical reports, whether the Fatima salamullah alayha was martyred 45 days immediately after the demise of the Holy Prophet, or 2 months after, or 3 months after. So the Fatimiyat al-Ula, Thaniya, and Thalitha. Monday also was the anniversary, the 40th anniversary of death of Allama Tabatabai, the author of Tafsir al-Mizan. It was on Monday, the 15th of November. Yesterday, we can't have Salat al-Jum'ah or Khutbat al-Jum'ah without some kind of a political activity or political reference. Yesterday, American administration decided to again sanction Iran and a number of Iranian characters for intervening in American election. Now, almost a year has passed since that election. We have seen Chinese being accused. We have seen Russians being accused. We have seen even Syrians being accused of intervening in American election. How porous it is that everybody in the world can intervene and somehow play in the election. Now they are accusing the Iranians, and they have to impose sanction against them. I've been reflecting on this issue since I heard it. Now, if we had any doubt about the sanity of our president, or the absence of sanity, this is the one that literally makes it solid. You can't go around arguing about it. The hadith that I started with is among a number of ahadith that the Holy Prophet ﷺ addresses Fatima, a unique character in Islam. There is no doubt that the history of Islam has gone through multi-phases, a number of phases. And also it's a fact that the first 95 days after the demise of the Holy Prophet are the most profound as well as turbulent and tragic. It's because of those 95 days that led to the martyrdom of Fatima al-Zahra, to 25 years of marginalization of Imam Ali, and to whole events that led to Sulh al-Hasan, Qiyam al-Hussein, and everything else. So those 95 days are extremely critical. No one will be able to clearly assess the early history of Islam without focusing and understanding those critical days and the critical month. And if we don't have enough evidence in our historical books, the simplest way is to establish a unique character that played a major role during those areas, and then look how the society is divided compared to this particular individual. If we want to understand what happened in the early 95 days, those days are intertwined with the life of Fatima. You cannot separate them. So to understand Fatima and to understand her position, we will be able to understand what happened to those, or where do those that opposed him stand. Very simple. We have seen this in Battle of Siffin. Amir al-Mu'mineen said the same thing about himself. If you want to establish who's haq and who's batil, look where Ali stands. We can do the same thing when we go back immediately after the demise of the Holy Prophet. Go after Fatima, wherever Fatima stands, haqq is with her, and whoever stands in opposition to her, they are in batil. Why Fatima is so critical? Because from our tradition, Fatima bridges the three different worlds. The world of what we call the pre-creation, because we have a hadith about the nur and the light of Fatima. It also represents the outer image of Khatam al-Anbiya. We have repeatedly a hadith from the Holy Prophet says, Bid'atun minni, ruhi, and so on and so forth. So she represents the outer image of the prophecy and the inner spirituality of the imamah, because Ummul A'imma also is another position that she occupies. So bridges the gap between these three. And because we don't have images of the early history or early characters of Islam, these images should be somehow captured through our eyes, and that will happen when we have a clear understanding of who these characters are. Now, some people look at Fatima as purely a pious person. Others as a social activist. Others as simply image of sadness and tragedy. Others would look at her as revolutionary, the one that stood up for the sake of justice against injustice, etc., etc. So, based on our understanding of Fatima al-Zahra and the image that we have in our heart and in our mind, we can label where she stands or how we perceive her. If Christianity talks about Sayeda Maryam salamullah alayha as the exemplary role model, Fatima al-Zahra far superior than Sayeda Maryam, because Sayeda Maryam in her purity and the mother of Jesus is the one that they revere. She wasn't a wife, she wasn't a teacher, we don't have any documentation, she wasn't revolutionary, she didn't stand up for justice during her time, etc., etc. Fatima is a unique character, brings all of these together and creates a unique example. This is why there is a hadith from the living Imam al-Asr, Ajjalallahu ta'ala faraju al-Sharif, that says, وَفِي ابْنَةِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ لِيَ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. If I want to look up to a character, I look up to Fatima al-Zahra and the multi-role that she played during her life. Now, one of the major role that she played that became famous is what we call the socio-political role that challenged the established order of what happened after Saqifa and after the demise of the Holy Prophet and the establishment of Khilafah. She championed this cause of justice and injustice and informed the community that this is something that we can learn from her life, and she becomes a role model for us. As long as we see the society drifting from the right path, justice is marginalized, and the society is moving towards corruption and injustice, it becomes an obligation for everyone to stand up, gender, female, male, no different. Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he came to power, delivered the sermon. And one of the points that he raised, that I'm not going to ask you to stand up to defend justice unless I am the first one to stand for it. And if I tell you don't do something, I am the first one that stay away from it. Fatima al-Zahra is going to set an example for everyone, for us, for our time, by standing for the sake of justice. We cannot hide under the table or under the radar. Let somebody else do it. This is particularly applicable for our younger generation, that the future of this country is in their hand. one of our responsibilities as Muslims is to inform and to transform the society. We cannot inform and transform society if we have no clear understanding of the major figures that played such a role in their early time. When Fatima stands in Masjid al-Nabi and clearly challenges Abu Bakr, يا ابن أبي قحافة أفي كتاب الله أن ترث أباك ولا أرث أبي. That's a major statement. لقد جئت شيئا فريا على الله ورسوله. It's a slander. Where is in the book of Allah that you can inherit your parents and I, the daughter of the Holy Prophet, cannot? This is a public statement by Fatima al-Zahra in Masjid al-Nabi within few days of the demise of the Holy Prophet, challenging the socio-political order that was established after Saqifa. What happened? This became the lesson for Zainab Salamullah alayha. In Sham, stands in front of Yazid and says, I find myself in an unfortunate circumstance to talk to you, Yabna Tulaqa. It's the turn of event. Otherwise, my position is much higher than yours. You were guided to Islam because of us. Now I have to stand in front of you. Fatima al-Zahra says the same thing. As the source of knowledge, says if you want to understand Islam, Islam is embodied in the life of Fatima. And when Fatima stands and challenges the Khalif of the day, it clearly establishes the fact that Khalif was batil. And Khalif was standing on the wrong side. The idea that we have to stand up in support of justice and for the right path is not reserved only for the male, for everyone. We see it when the women of Medina around the end of her life, they'd go to visit her. First she refused, but then they insist. And she turned her face towards them and says, I have nothing but contempt for you and your husband. I tested your husband and I found them the most apathetic within the society. For creature comfort, they stepped away from the right path. They don't know what is coming next. Clearly, when she condemns the women for not standing up, it's a message for our sisters today as much as it is for our brothers. You cannot hide under the radar and say, we have no responsibility or I see no evil. When the society is being corrupted or the society is drifting away from the right path, whether on a small scale or a large scale, we have an obligation. كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. On the day of judgment, we will be asked, you saw your society being corrupted, what did you do? There is another verse in the Holy Quran, say that they come on the day of judgment, and when Malaika ask them what did they do on earth, they say, well, we were somehow marginalized. أَلَمْ تَكُنْ أَرْضُ اللَّهِ وَاسِعَةً فَتُهَاجِرُوا. As Muslims, you are not there to claim that I don't have anything to do. Either you change your social circumstance or depart. Go somewhere else where you can change it. Our ancestors, our forefathers, departed from their land hoping that they would create something new. Now the mantle is in your hand. You cannot turn your head and say, I see no evil. So what we really need to do Uswa means role model. We can commemorate, we can commiserate the life of our Imams, but if we don't take a leaf out of their life, out of their history, and apply it in our days, we haven't done much. Fatima taught. Fatima had Iman. Fatima exemplary as a mother. Fatima exemplary as a student to the Holy Prophet. Fatima exemplary as a wife. Fatima exemplary as a teacher, also as a social activist and revolutionary. We tend to focus purely on how pure she is or she was as a mother and so on, but ignore totally the other parts of her example or her character. We pick what we want and we throw the rest out. So if we want really to follow Fatima al-Zahra, we really need to understand her role, not only in shaping of the 95 days. Have we ever even thought about why we don't know where her grave is? The most political statement that you can make, or she could make, was to ask Ali, bury me at night, and I don't want any of those people that were the cause of my pain to be present. That's a political statement. When was the last time we stood up and we made even a ripple, let alone make a political statement that changes anything? Well, Fatima al-Zahra left the world with a legacy. It's our responsibility now to keep that legacy and move it forward. May Allah help us in understanding Ahlul Bayt, and particularly Fatima al-Zahra salamullah alayha, and following their example, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu as-salihat. Wa tawasaw bil-haqqi wa tawasaw bil-sabr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، نحمده ونشكره على ما هدانا ونستعينه ونتوب إليه من سيئات أعمالنا، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا محمد وعلى آله الطاهرين المعصومين. اللهم صل على محمد. أخواتي وإخواني الأحباء، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. عباد الله، أوصيكم إياي بتقوى الله. عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إنه قال: فاطمة بهجة قلبي وأبناؤها ثمرة فؤادي وبعلها نور بصري والأئمة من ولدها أمناء ربي وحبله الممدود بينه وبين خلقه، من اعتصم به نجا ومن تخلف عنه هوى. للذكرى لأي عظيم من عظمائنا في التاريخ طريقتان في الإثارة وفي حركة الأجيال. هناك طريقة يعيش فيها الناس في الماضي، بحيث تنتقل الأمة إلى التاريخ لتسكن في التاريخ ولتنفصل عن حاضرها، فنعيش مع الذين عاشوا في التاريخ دون أن نعطي حاضرنا أي شيء. وهناك طريقة أخرى، وهي أن ننقل التاريخ إلى الحاضر لنجعله يتفاعل مع الحاضر ويعطيه من إيحاءاته ومن أفكاره ومن خطواته ما يجعل منه قوة تتحرك نحو المستقبل. في الطريقة الأولى لن تستفيد الأجيال شيئا من التاريخ، ولن تستفيد من العظماء، بل تتحول المسألة عندهم إلى عبادة العظيم، يذكرون فضائله ويستغرقون في شخصيته وينسون دوره. نجد الكثيرين من المسلمين يستذكرون النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم في يوم مولده، ولكن أين محمد وأين المسلمون؟ نحتفل به، نقيم الموالد في كل مناسبة، ولكن بشرط أن لا نسمح لمحمد أن يأتي إلى بيوتنا ليصلحها، أو يأتي إلى عقولنا ليحركها، أو يأتي إلى ساحاتنا حتى يدفعها نحو العمل ونحو الجهاد. أما الطريقة الثانية فهي أن ندعو عظماء التاريخ إلينا، لأنهم يمثلون روحا ورسالة ويمثلون حركة، والحركة التي أطلقوها منذ انطلقوا هي نفسها الحركة التي تتحرك في حياتنا الآن. وفي ذكرى وفاة فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها نريد أن ندعو فاطمة إلى زيارتنا، أن يزورنا روح فاطمة وخلق فاطمة وحركة فاطمة ودور فاطمة ومناجاة فاطمة وحركتها في توجيه المجتمع في الخط الذي يرفع للمجتمع مستواه ويقربه إلى الله تعالى. الزهراء كانت الإنسانة المسؤولة ثقافياً وإسلامياً، هذه الإنسانة المثقلة بكل ما ممكن أن نتحدث عنه، كانت تجلس لتكتب حديث رسول الله وتسجله في أوراق. وإذا كنتم تسمعون عن مصحف الزهراء، فكلمة المصحف لا تعني القرآن كما يحاول البعض أن يتهم الشيعة على الخصوص الوهابية بأن لهم قرآنا غير هذا القرآن يسمى مصحف الزهراء. مصحف الزهراء كان كتابا تسجل فيه الزهراء ما تسمعه عن رسول الله، وكانت تلقي ما تكتبه على النساء اللاتي يجتمعن إليها بين وقت وآخر حتى يتعلمون منها ثقافة الإسلام. الإنسان في هذه الحياة لا بد أن يغني إنسانيته، فنحن مشغولون من الصباح إلى الليل بالأكل والشرب واللباس والمسكن واللذات والشهوات والسفرات، هذا حاجات الحياة لكي نعيش، وليست رسالة الحياة. أما رسالتنا في الحياة فهي أن ننفتح على واقع الناس، ونرفع مستوى الناس ثقافياً، ونرفع مستوى الناس اجتماعياً، ونرفع مستوانا ثقافياً واجتماعياً. الله سبحانه وتعالى لم يقل هل يستوي الذين يأكلون والذين لا يأكلون، هل يستوي الذين يشربون والذين لا يشربون، هل يستوي الذين يلبسون ملابس جيدة على أحدث الموضة والذين لا يلبسون، هل يستوي الذين يجلسون ويعيشون في قصر أم لا يجلسون، بل قال هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون. المعرفة هي التي تمثل حقيقة امتداد الإنسانية للإنسان. إنسانيتنا ليست جسدنا، وإنما جسدنا مظهر الحركة في إنسانيتنا. إنسانيتنا هي روحنا، إنسانيتنا هي عقلنا. الزهراء هي أول معارضة سياسية في الإسلام. العمل السياسي هو الذي يكون موقفاً ضد حكم معين، لمصلحة حكم معين، للاحتجاج على واقع معين، للمطالبة بمطلب معين. الزهراء وقفت وطالبت بحق عليه، وطالبت بإرثها من رسول الله في فدك، ووقفت واحتجت بمختلف الوسائل، وخطبت خطبتها المعروفة في المدينة أمام الرجال، وكانت أول امرأة مسلمة تقف خطيبة على الرجال في المسجد. فما دورنا في الوقت الحاضر؟ القضايا التي يعيش فيها العالم الإسلامي، عندنا قضايا المسلمين في العالم، القضية الفلسطينية، القضايا في اليمن، القضية في لبنان، قضيتنا في المنطقة، قضايا المستضعفين في العالم، هذه قضايا تترك تأثيرها سلبا وإيجابا على الرجل والمرأة إذا اهتمينا بأمور المسلمين. كان للزهراء آفاق مع الله وآفاق مع الناس، وتلك هي حركتها في الحياة. هذه الإنسانة العظيمة التي عاشت الآلام كأقصى ما تكون الآلام، وعاشت الاضطهاد كأقصى ما يكون الاضطهاد، وكانت الإنسانة التي أذهب الله عنها الرجس وطهرها تطهيرا. كانت المعصومة في القرآن، وكانت المعصومة في سلوكها. لذلك لا بد للمسلمين أن يجعلوا من الزهراء قدوة لهم في كل منطلقاتها، وفي كل حركتها، وفي كل قيامها بالمسؤولية. هذا هو الذي يعطينا المعنى الكبير في الاحتفال بوفاة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين عليه الصلاة والسلام. نسأل الله أن يجعلنا من المتمسكين بحبل أهل البيت والتابعين لهم في حياتنا إن شاء الله. اللهم صل على محمد نبيك ورسولك أفضل ما صليت على أحد من خلقك، وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين، وصل على فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة، وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الحجة الهادي المهدي، عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل الله مخرجه، وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره والمستشهدين بين يديه. رجاء قراءة سورة الفاتحة على روح المرحوم، على روح أمواتنا جميعا، لا سيما روح المرحوم علامة الشيخ محمد جواد شري، قبلها الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. والسلام عليكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.